Hey, welcome back to part 2 of my look at my recent vintage reggae sound system vinyl haul. In my first video I looked at the 7-inch singles, which I did them in kind of a chronological order as they went from the very early 60s through the 70s and on up to the early 90s. Actually there wasn't much from the 80s, but what I do have for the 80s is 12-inch singles, which I'll show right now. And there was a smaller number of those, about 25. I won't show all of them. But they are concentrated right in that early 80s window, which was where the roots reggae of the 1970s kind of evolved and changed styles into what's known as dancehall. Dancehall was a lot of the same artists carried on as much as they had before. The rhythms tended to get heavier, leaner, and sparser, often with dub mixes by people like Scientist. And a younger crop of artists started moving to the fore. Kind of the subject matter, which roots reggae had been gotten kind of rigid into themes of Jah, Rastafari, repatriation to Africa. Those themes continued, but kind of the style loosened up a bit. There was a bit more flexibility, more energy as these younger artists got into the scene. So that became known as dancehall. First up, an absolute classic tune was in here. You can see the markings all over the sleeve from the Quaker Sound System label. It's on Junjo Law's Volcano label, Henry Laws, better known as Junjo, one of the absolute preeminent producers of the first few years of the 80s. Very few could touch him. He cranked out hits like there was no tomorrow, and this is one of them. Frankie Paul, Worries in the Dance. As in, Frankie Paul's records are going to give the opposing sound, Worries. Because everybody's going to want to go to the dance that's playing his records. Another one from him on the BTR label, Dancehall Style. This would be a thing as dancehall moved to the forefront. Not just declarations of Rastafarian and African culture. They would celebrate the exuberance of being in the dance hall, of enjoying yourself, relaxing. That kind of energy is what characterizes the dance hall style. Heavily marked up here, but it's on the Powerhouse label, produced by George Fang, a kind of a rival to Junjo Laws. Michael Palmer's Lick Shot. Big hit from him. I actually have that one already. Another one of the top producers of those first years of the 80s. It is Jah Thomas. Johnny Osborne doing Bring the Sensi Come on the Midnight Rock label. Another top classic here, Barrington Levy, Prison Oval Rock, title track of one of his LPs. On the Reggae Sound label. Very nice one there. Very happy to have that. Sly and Robbie's Taxi label. I had a couple in there. This one is by Carlton Livingston. It's called Trotting Through the Jungle. Backed with Ape Man Rock by Sly and Robbie. I'm not quite sure why it says Mikey Dread on there. Mikey Dread was an artist. This is not one of his records. There was another Mikey Dread in the UK who was kind of a radio DJ presenter, I believe. Don't know if that was related to him or somebody completely different. UK sound system again, as I said. The Jah Guidance label, another famous classic. Michigan and Smiley doing Diseases, heavily marked up with the Quaker Sound logo there. Show who owned their records. Junjo Law's Volcano label again. Charlie Chaplin doing Hey Youth Man. Backed with Afraid of You. Again, these are all early to mid 80s. Another classic on the UK Lightning label. Josie Wales doing Bobo Dread, one of his big hits. Lego Me Hand on the flip. Linval Thompson, one of the, as well as an artist in his own right, also a great producer at the time, one of those few that was able to rival Henry Laws. He's doing Bubbling Up on the Live and Learn label, backed with Musician Them a Money Man by Billy Boyle. He was a kid DJ. Probably about 10 or 11 years old, I think. The great Channel 1 label, John Holt tune. Doing Why Can't I Leave? Sly and Robbie's Taxi label. Heavily marked up here. Jimmy Riley doing Sexual Healing. I'm sure it's a cover of the Marvin Gaye tune. I haven't listened to all these records yet. There was actually 2 copies of that one. There's a much cleaner one. Jimmy Riley, I did a video on him a while back. Reggae Spotlight. This is a very nice one. I didn't actually know this one, I don't believe, before, but it's the Tads label. The great Dennis Brown doing Bunny Wailer's Armageddon off his debut album, Black Heart Man, classic. It's a very nice cover version from what I've heard of it. And Dennis Brown again on his own Yvonne's Special label. If This World Were Mine, I'd play Rub-a-Dub all the time. One of his classics of the period. Got a few by the great dancehall singer Sugar Minott. Still kind of underrated, but he was very prolific, hugely influential. He deserves to be mentioned in the same breath as Dennis Brown and Gregory Isaacs and those other greats. Here he's doing Lick Shot on the Brand X label. Anti-violence tune. Another one from him, Rhythmatic on Mr. O label. Again, heavily marked up. This is a tune I actually had already. And on his own Black Roots label, I'll maybe show you that a little bit closer. Tune called Mix Up, Sugar Minott, Black Roots label, his own production. Further one from him on SMJ Productions, Give Me the Tu Shung Tang, Herb Song. Last one I'm going to show today, and this was a real big find for me. In many ways, the find of the entire sound system haul. This is one I was considering buying online. Actually, I kind of was pricing it out, and it was actually goes for a few bucks, but it's actually relatively attainable. This is a U.S. press on the Steinjack label of Willie Williams and Papa Cousin, aka Noel Ellis, son of Alton Ellis, doing Rocking Universally, which was a second cut recorded in Toronto, Canada, of Willie Williams' big hit Armageddon Time, which was covered by The Clash. And over top of the real rock rhythm, arranged by Jackie Matu, and originally recorded at Studio One. Rocking Universally. Classic bubbling dancehall tune there. 1979 on this one. Probably the earliest of these 12 inches. Dub on the flip. So that is my look at my sound system haul, guys. Hope you enjoyed. There's some classic records here, some that are new to me, and just kind of records you do not see every day. I was so stoked to be able to buy this collection. And thanks for tuning in, and cheers, guys.